I call the meeting to order. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we see. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. I'm going to ask Kim Pickett if she'll come up first. We're going to swear her in as town manager. Come on. Get the Bible. Put your hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. I, Kimberly Pickett, do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as interim town manager of the town of Benson, North Carolina. So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I, Angie Thornton,
I, Angie Thornton,
do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as interim finance director of the town of Benson, North Carolina. So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. And congratulations to both of you for now seating on your job, and we're looking forward to good things from you in the future.
Thank you.
I asked Kimberly if she will, any new hires that we have that you need to introduce.
So we do have a new hire. She was unable to attend tonight, but her name is Beth Smith. She is going to be part-time at the library. She is going to be helping Derek with the children's program. She retired from Johnston County Public Library in 2020. She was the children's librarian. And prior to that, she was a teacher for 15 years. So we are really excited to have her on our team and can't wait to see what she does with the children's program this summer.
Okay, thank you. Individuals wishing to address the board are asked to provide their name and address for the record. Come forward, please, if you'd like to address the board. Anyone that wants to address the board on any subject, come forward. While nobody is coming forward, we close the public comments part. Now go to the department reports. I'm really enthused that we got a report back from somebody that went to a class that they're going to learn something about business. And Kimberly did a thorough report on her trip to Electric Cities Connection Summit that was February the 22nd through the 24th. So thank you for writing that. Does anybody have any questions of her about what she wrote?
The only thing I'll say is I appreciate you taking the workforce home and going through that. I did notice that you mentioned a pay study should be done every 7 years in your report. At our last town retreat, we had discussed the potential of that happening this year. I'd love to see some options come to the board to see how we can tackle that.
Okay.
Any other comments? Now we go to the public hearing. I'm going to call on Alex Holloway to come forward.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So I'm here to present on the rezoning request by Benton Guard Company at 105 South Wall Street. Just to mention up front, so in the staff report, I guess within the last 3 hours or so, I guess our recommendation within that staff report has been updated. Essentially, the zoning request is to change the parcel from B2 to B3, whereas staff recommends sending it back to the planning board to be considered for a B1 rezoning. Just to sort of walk you through. Sorry. So the parcel is currently Benton Guard Company, which is a grandfathered in company. It offers limited manufacturing services, specifically printing, and the applicant would like to rezone to B3, in part because they're expanding their use to include vehicle services. They're importing a garage, and so with under B3, that falls under that category. And this is just a chart just kind of showing the differences between the B2 zoning, where it's currently used, and the B3 zoning. However, within the future land use map, which is approved within the last year, that parcel, as well as the surrounding area, is primarily zoned for town center, and these are boutique-like commercial sort of businesses. And as is stated, this language was taken from the comprehensive land use plan. Compatible districts would be OR, or central business B1. And so those services also fall under B1, the limited manufacturing with the special use permit, as well as the vehicle services that Benton Guard Company is hoping to expand its use to. And so these are the approval criteria that myself and then the planning board went through. The planning staff found that rezoning it as a B3 wouldn't be compatible with the future land use mode, and so recommended denial, whereas the planning board last week came to conclusion to approve. However, so the Board of Commissioners can tonight decide whether or not to approve or to deny, or they can motion to send it back to the planning board. And if Benton Guard Company chooses to, they can amend their application to be rezoned to B1 as opposed to B3. That would then satisfy both their needs as well as meet the uses indicated on the future land use map. And so that's sort of staff recommendation now.
Say that recommendation one more time.
Yeah.
The recommendation is to do what?
That the board motions to send this application back to the planning board for further consideration. And then
And
Benton
amend
Guard
the
Company.
request from going to B3 to B1, is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you something. What's the cost every time it goes back?
Yeah.
You've got an established business that's been here 75 years, and they're basically gonna do the very same thing. They're adding one other printing project. Now, they have been in business. What is the difference in adding a door on the outside that everybody has to spend so much time on instead of approving this? I understand about the zoning, but they're a B2.
Yeah,
They wanted to go to a B3,
correct.
and y'all recommend them go to a B1.
Correct.
Does that mean they have to pay another $750 in planning and permit fees to be able to come back before the board?
No,
But they have to wait another month?
correct. So,
What would happen tonight if we look at it and say, it really doesn't need to go back, and we go ahead and approve this? Could they get started?
So,
I mean, the recommendation that I read in here
Was good
from the
with
planning board is to approve
yeah,
this. The, which board? Not the planning board, but the
the planning staff.
planning staff.
Mhm.
Okay, that's different. The planning staff has gone back and said, you said y'all made a decision in the last 3 hours to ask for a B1.
Yeah.
Who's, the planning staff made that decision, or did the applicant decide they wanted to change their request?
The planning staff thought that'd be best, reached out to the applicant and let them know if that's what they are on board with. And
Who
so,
is their planning staff?
so currently myself, as well as a couple other colleagues filling in from Triangle J Council of Governments.
Triangle J.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Carry on. I
Yeah.
think we have gone way too far with this already, but
For sure.
carry on and tell us why.
Yeah, so I guess the reason why planning staff felt that B3 wouldn't be, I guess, a good sort of rezoning for that reason is because for whatever reason, if Benton were to relocate or shut down, not saying that they were, that's their intent at all, but if for whatever reason, and that parcel is now open to any sort of by right development that's permissible under B3. I do have the different land uses here if you'd like to look through. So essentially, with that, you're sort of opening it up for any potential future sort of development in there that wouldn't be compatible with the future land use map. And so the future land use map calls for B1 to be there, or calls for B1 and OR businesses to be within that district, and they actually can do exactly what they're intending to do under B1 in that, and so that's why recommending switching from B3 to B1.
Without the special use permit?
So they still need a special use permit in both cases.
Well, I understand the land use plan is great. Every town needs it, and
Yeah.
they need to update their land use plan.
Yeah.
But this may fall under it for the long-term out there, but
If they,
I'd rather go ahead and take it and do it. And then if that happens, then we will look at another change in it.
you said they were permitted to do the same thing that they're asking to do in a B1 if we go that route. If they go to a B1 and 6 months down the road, they decide they want to put in another door. That's all this looks like to me based on the report. They're just looking at a garage door.
So the expansion has nothing to do with the door, it's the use. So
Okay.
they want to include the vehicle service use by putting that into the garage door. That's the intent
Okay.
of the garage door, so,
But the vehicle
Yeah.
service use
yeah.
is a printing operation too, right?
So they're printing decals, but it's a vehicle service, so it'd fall under vehicle service.
So, and I'm just saying, I know that you're new,
Yeah.
and I know that you're not. You're temporary, so I'm not yelling at you.
Yeah, no worries.
But when I read the application, it looked like they'd been doing that use that we're asking for the past 7 years. That's what it said in the application.
Yeah,
Is that
so
correct?
what was grandfathered in was the printing service, so not the vehicle service. So
Okay.
they had been doing that for 7 years. Yeah, but it wasn't what was grandfathered in. It's technically not allowed in that.
So if this board were to choose to take your recommendation and go to B1, would it have to go back to planning, or can we override the planning board?
Yeah, that's the rules that's laid out in the UDO, that it goes to planning board and then it goes to,
But we make the UDO, so we can do a text amendment, right?
You'd have to have a public, notice is
Yeah.
gonna be,
yeah.
the rock that this board will break against tonight if it's thinking about contemplating proceeding, with anything other than rezoning
To a B3?
to a B3 with the special use permit that's been requested, because that's what's been noticed. So similarly, if you wanted to change the UDO, even on the fly, as it were tonight, you would have to have a
Public
notice and
hearing
a
and
public
notice.
hearing for
Yeah.
that. So procedurally, It is unfortunate with the additional time, but procedurally, it needs to be remanded back to the planning board, then they can amend their application, would essentially come forward as a new consideration for the planning board. It'd have to be renoticed, and then it would come back before the board the way Mr. Holloway suggested. So
But if we're not changing the UDO and just offering a special use permit for them to do this, we can't do that.
you need to
There's
rezone
only
it
two
and
right
do
now.
a
You gotta
special use
change it
permit.
anyway.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
rezone it to anything other than B3 tonight, because that's the public notice that you've sent out, that you've provided.
But I mean, what is wrong with making it B3? I mean, to me, B3 is a higher zoning than B1.
It's a higher risk class as well.
You said it's a higher.
It's a higher risk as well, right? In the future, that's what
Yeah,
that's
so-
what it's coming from, is the fact that if we allow them to become a manufacturing facility, and not that they will, if they've not done it since 1948, but if they decided to be in business now, then a new manufacturing facility could come in and we wouldn't have any control over rezoning that for them.
Yeah, that's the. Whereas, yeah, the B1 is what
It's
Town-
not a land use plan, and we would just be offering
Yeah.
a special use permit just for that.
Yeah.
That temporary, or that use as it is right now.
Yeah.
But that special use permit, if they were decided to start, I don't know what the print business is, but if they were starting to start another business, would they have to come back for another special use permit if that changed, if they were a B1?
It just depends on whatever the use is. So,
Okay.
yeah, some uses. So just looking at it. So if they did like a hotel motel business and that, then they would need a special use permit. But if they wanted to add just a general store to it, then it could be by right. So
What's the easiest way to get out of this and make it happen?
What he suggested.
Going
Well,
to
then I
B1.
make a motion that we do, are you ready, man?
We got ahead of
Well-
here.
Well, we need to get ready.
Why don't we just hear what they want? How about that?
Yes.
Yeah, Ben, you come up and we put them through this for months now, and it's embarrassing.
Thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me. First and foremost, how many of you guys own a business? Anybody? Anybody? Yeah. How would you feel if you're just trying to put in a simple passageway and you're told you need to go through these steps, and you go, yes sir, I understand, I'm not special, you're not special, whoever else raised their hand, you're not special. We all have to go through our steps. I get that. I am on board with that. I am great with planning. However, when your planning starts to inhibit the growth of the town, you've planned yourself out of growth. You can't grow if you plan yourself into a pigeonholed spot. And that's where we are. This situation right here has cost me $14,000 additionally. Waiting another month, I'm not going to do it. If it doesn't go B3 now, we're not going to do it, and there is a very good reason why. I can find a building outside of the town limits, rent that place for far less than I can do to bring the business into Benson. Why should I do that? Just because it's a little more convenient to walk into our own building that we have the space for? It doesn't make any sense for me to spend on upwards of $28,000 for the door plus another $40,000 for the construction when I can go rent a place and have it for 5, 10, 15 years at nearly the same cost, if not more. So that doesn't make any sense. The fact I'm trying to get a simple garage door built. Who has to go through this to get a garage door built? It's something I've been doing in a parking lot for years. The only reason I want to do it is so that I can provide a better service to the town, to the county, and all the other folks that need this service. We're the only ones that do it. There are wrapping stations here literally across the street from me where I can take a rock and I can hit that building. They have garage doors. They just put 2 in. They just put 2 in. And they lied because, and I love Vic, but he said we're doing a car wash. If I had lied to you guys and said, oh, this is just for storage purposes, I wouldn't be going through this. I'm being punished by telling the truth.
You haven't done any of the painting you want to do?
Painting?
The new business that you haven't done any of that?
Well, it's the same business. We've been doing it for 7 years.
You know,
It's,
but I mean, you're not doing it inside now?
No, sir, I'm not. We have been sweating it out in the middle of July, and it's not good for the vinyl because the vinyl gets heated up and it works like chewing gum. So we can't give the best product that way. When it's super cold, the vinyl gets extra rigid, so then it doesn't bend properly, and you have to overheat it, which can cause the ink to pull out, which doesn't give a good product. I would like to be able to put them in a climate-controlled environment. I don't think that's an unnecessary request. I do want to stay at a B3, but I cannot afford to lose another month because the longer this takes, look at your gas prices. They just went up. All my prices are going up, 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 up every month that we put this off. I've been trying to get this done since May. This is embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing that I'm having to go through these steps to put in a garage door. It doesn't affect anything. And then you say, well, what about the planning? Well, I want to ask you this. We have a 10,000 square foot building and one tiny parking lot strip. If you're worried about manufacturers, how much are you going to get done with 10 spaces? They're not going to buy a building for that. It's ludicrous. It was improperly planned. It was improperly suggested that we go to a B3. Now they're saying B1. We went at their suggestion, and we played by your rules. And I'm not going to keep playing it. And I say that in the most respectful way. I had to spend 50 minutes doing my best Ike impersonation last week to get a garage door. Ask yourself, is that a town that is helping their businesses grow?
Why can't we let them go ahead and do what they're doing? Or do the new business? I mean, we made the mistake.
Well, if the regulations require them to go through a procedure to put in the door and do the improvements that Ben is talking about, then they have to under your rules. And he's gone through that. At this point, there's just been a discovery that the UDO the future land use map would be, it would be better to go about doing it B1. So unfortunately, I wish I could tell you could just sort of pivot tonight and approve it the way everybody in the room, I think, pretty much is in agreement for it to go forward and to be recommended for approval to do. But because you've noticed it for a rezoning hearing, public hearing for rezoning to B3 with a special use permit, you can't just say, well, we've considered actually we're going to do B1. So the only things for you to consider is to approve the B3 and then consider the special use permit and approve or deny that, or deny the rezoning to B3, or to remand it back to the planning board and have the amended application come forward to them, and they have this board, they come out of the board. I know it's frustrating to the applicant. I understand that, but if you want to do it by your own rule book, if you start looking at just letting them do something, then you're telling them to do something that's not consistent with your own rules, and that's problematic.
Yeah,
But we're
if-
not letting them just do anything. We came here tonight to go from a B2, B3 with a special use, and we just got hit with, well, B1 makes it okay.
That wasn't in our packet a week ago.
No, I hadn't seen B1 in
We've not
any
seen
packet
B1
that
at
I've
all.
got.
Precisely, and you haven't done proper statutory notice to hear a consideration to rezone it to B1 either.
I'm just
Okay,
gonna say
so-
this, and it's not, I spent over an hour on the phone this morning with a commercial developer who wants to bring a $2 million project to Benson, and when he looked at the UDO, he said, your 50-foot buffer is killing me, so I'm not gonna apply. And last week, it was a residential developer that looked at a daggone residential subdivision, and when I told him that the parcel he was looking at was in the town of Benson, he said, never mind. We have a rule book problem, and I know that we spent a year doing grammatical corrections to a UDO, But somehow or another, we've got to bring in people that are smarter than we are, that do development to help us fix this rule book problem, because these rules are not working for the people that live in the town of Benson.
I'd like to say something, and I won't be long-winded. As Ben has probably indicated, we've already spent thousands of dollars, and we have had delay after delay after delay. If we don't get this in immediately, I don't know how long we're gonna have to wait for the door to come in, but we will lose all summer of, and that's when most of this work is done. And so I'm asking that you, see, we're not requesting a B1, we're requesting a B3. And the planning board, as I used to serve on it, I was appointed by you people. And you are the elected officials that you have the power. And I understand what Isaac is saying, that, the people that might object, they might not have objected to a B3, and they now might object to a B1. But we cannot afford the delay, and I'm just asking the board to go out on a limb, approve the B3 so we can proceed with this project, because we just can't tolerate a delay.
If I understand this is put more on the applicant, but I'm just thinking if that's what's in best interest of the town, I don't think the applicant has anything in his mind that's not in best interest. If we approved it to a B3 today to get them in business, could they not come back without charging them a rezoning fee and rezone next month to a B1 if that's what fit? You're not going to a B1?
I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, never mind.
I will not do it.
All right.
And there's a very good reason. If I lose an entire season of wrapping, I can go and rent a place out for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and do it much cheaper outside of the town of Benson because they failed me. We have done a lot for this town, and a lot of things silent. When the town couldn't afford things, we paid for it out of our back pocket. So you guys didn't end up with egg on your face. I've never asked for anything. Suzanne Cook has never asked for anything. Howard Benton never asked for anything. And I'm asking for a garage door. If you can't do that for me, and like I told him last week, we have planning, that's great. But if you say that we can't do this, what that tells me is you're not planning to help me. You're not planning for me. I'm not going to a B1. I'm not gonna do the project. I'll move it out. I'll do it somewhere else because I can do it cheaper. I'm trying to give the town of Benson opportunity to create jobs. I'm trying to give the town of Benson the opportunity to go forth and do the things that they say that they want to do.
What is the wishes of the board?
We need to hear the other side. Is there anybody here in opposition?
Well, at some point, at some point, you're more or less having your public hearing, and I think I'm not misstating when I say the applicant is intending for you to consider their application, which is validly noticed and presented to this board tonight, to rezone to B3, and then secondarily a special use permit for the use. So I think if you're gonna consider this, then you open your public hearing and start that process. If you want to stop it short and remand it, you can do that at this time. But if you're gonna keep having essentially testimony on the rezoning, which is what we're getting into now, you would better off to have the mayor open the public hearing.
May I just add one more thing? If you look at the plot of land, if you look at the space, there's no parking for any type of business that you guys are overly concerned about. It's just not there. Logistically, it never should have been a B2.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm just asking, and Aaron's not here, and you've not been here long, Alex, but we create the UDO. So we decide what properties fall under B2 and B3 and B1 when we create that UDO. Is that not correct?
Correct.
So what we're saying is if we give them B3 tonight to do a garage door, and we're worried about, Chevrolet manufacturer moving in that building next month, if we revise our UDO, then we can correct that at that point in time by more itemizing the uses of our UDO.
You're not incorrect, Commissioner Neighbors. I would say that changing the permitted uses in the use table to redo B3 after the fact you know, that's a, let's just say that's a big task and chore and a lot to bite off and chew. Maybe we do, I don't disagree with you, I think maybe the UDO does need to be continually looked at, really. I mean, consistently, continually, always changed and updated and fashioned into what the town needs it to be. But as far as that being a panacea or some sort of solution to this, I would just caution you to redo B3 around this application is awkward.
I've had an approval of the agenda, and we're gonna go ahead with a public hearing, and I'm gonna ask Alex Holloway to come and proceed. I now open the public hearing. Will you swear in Mr. Holloway?
For the
What?
rezoning, we
For the
don't.
He doesn't have any
Okay.
swear.
That'll just be if it gets approved, then we do the special use.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay, go ahead.
It's up to you to call all those in favor. I feel like we just heard. Is there anybody else in favor?
Well,
And you call
I
all
mean,
those in favor?
you may have more staff report. I think to this point, it's sort of been truncated, so you may have more staff report on the full
Yeah.
consideration of the matter, and then we do,
Give us a report.
and then we do for
I
and
won't
against.
say a word. You give us the report.
For
It's
no,
all interrupted out.
no, you're fine. No, I was just so yeah. These
Sorry,
are
I-
these are the criteria that you have to approve based off of. It has to meet all 7. So that's when I was interpreting, was looking through, and as the UDO stands as is, whether or not it needs consideration down the road, that's the approval. So, and again, as Ike mentioned, it opens a slippery slope if you approve because of, albeit a very unique situation, because next month somebody could come in doing the same thing, and then we have to either own that or not. So I would say just consider that as well. But this would be the statement if you choose either to approve or deny. This would be the statement that you'd read off of. Yep.
And when you say someone can come in, you mean someone can come in on that property, if it was available? That particular property or that area?
If that property is available and they want to come, they can reuse that business exactly as is. They can bulldoze and build something new. Whatever's by right, they can do. And so I have the uses here if you all want to look
Can you
through.
give us some examples of B3?
Sure. So by right, veterinarian, hospital, vehicle services, vehicle sales, vehicle repair, neighborhood service, self-storage facility, general retail. So I'm just seeing what's different between cemetery. Obviously, it's a little smaller, but so.
Well, I think
There's a lot of
the
different
bigger
uses.
issue here is they're currently zone B2 and they're a newspaper publisher, and so they're not in compliance. They've been in non-compliance since 1948, or since this UDO was put in place.
Yeah, so the printing was
So in
the,
order for them to continue doing what they've been doing since 1948, they've got to be a B3. if
no,
they-
so they can do what they've been doing newspaper-wise
As a non-conforming.
as a
use.
non-conforming. The vehicle services with the decals, that was not grandfathered in, so technically it shouldn't have been happening. But with their moving it in and they're needing that permits, that's why we're going through the process now. So,
I want to see that.
yeah, I have more copies.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Jesus, Jesus.
All right, Mayor.
I still think we ought to go ahead with the hearing.
Waiting on you.
We're waiting on you.
Waiting on you.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
I called on him to cover the RZ 2022-02. Come forward, Alex.
He just covered it, Jerry.
He covered every
You
bit
need
of
to
it.
ask for those in favor or those in opposed.
Yeah.
He's already covered it
Kind of
all.
doing it a little bit backwards,
This is awkward, sure.
yeah.
Sorry.
I think he's giving you a staff report, Mayor.
I gave him what?
I think he's giving you the staff report.
So just call for who's in favor.
Call for who's in favor.
All right, all who's in favor, raise your hand.
Not us.
No.
No, the public hearing.
Speak.
All those that are here that are to speak in favor.
Oh. We got so confused with what we're doing that, the public hearing is open. Anyone that's in favor of RZ 2022-02, please come forward.
Quite obviously, everybody with the name of Benton and Cook is in favor of it. And this is simply allowing us to do an extension of what we have been doing for years. And I would just like to stress the fact that this is a very lucrative form of printing. And Benton Card Company needs this kind of printing. And as Ben had already reiterated, if you do it out in the hot sun, when the wind starts blowing dirt or it's starting to rain, or in the wintertime when the material is too rigid, you're going to run your customers off. And that's why we're trying to do this, and we request that you would look favorably upon it.
Could you just state your name and address for the record?
Steve Cook, 507 West Main Street, Benson.
Thank you.
You gonna speak, Ben? Or you've already spoke?
I'm just wasting your time at this point.
Anyone else is in favor of RZ 2022-02, come forward, please. No one else coming forward? Anyone that is opposed, RZ 2022-02, come forward. Anyone that is opposed to RZ 2022-02, come forward. While nobody's coming forward, I close the public hearing. Any comments from the board? I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, just a minute. Attorney Parker, would you explain this situation to me again? I have gotten even more confused.
Where would you like me to start?
By law, what is it? By law.
Right now, as you are in this public hearing, the applicant is asked to have his property rezoned from B1 to B3. That's been all properly noticed, and now it's properly before you, going through the proper channels and procedure as set forth in your UDO. And there's a subsequent thing we'll get to shortly with the special use permit, but that's what's before you right now, to rezone it from B1 to
B2, it's B2.
B2.
B2 to B3.
Yeah.
B2 to B3, obviously, B2 to B3.
Any other comment?
Does that answer your questions, or that's it in a nutshell? I mean, you've had a public hearing. There's been two spoken in favor of it. There's no one against it.
And we're legal.
You can consider that rezoning. The staff has reported to you that it's inconsistent with the future land use plan, but you can deviate from that. So you can decide that, notwithstanding that, you want to approve the rezoning, or you can deny it.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve from a B2 to B through case RZ 2022-02 at the recommendation of the planning board.
That's not a
Read that
recommendation.
statement.
You need to read that statement. That's not the planning board.
Board of Commissioners adopts the statement of contingency and finds determines that case number RZ-2022-02 is and not inconsistent
Is consistent is what it's supposed to say. It's wrong.
with the goals. I'm reading what it's up there. Objects and policies of the town of Benson comprehensive land use plan, and the request is not,
So you would say.
is reasonable, and in the public interest hereby recommends approval.
Any other comments from the board? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
4-2 in favor, passes.
3-2.
I mean, 3-2.
So the second application is for a special use permit.
Hold on,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's
Yeah.
go ahead and swear you in.
Thank you, Angie.
Sorry. All right, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
So let me go.
All right, you're good.
So this is the special use application for Benton Card Company.
Before you get started, let me
Yes.
clarify something. We just had a vote.
Correct.
That was 3-2. The chairman votes in favor, so the vote is 4-2.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I thought you could only vote if it was a tie. Is that not right?
That's correct.
That's
That's
right,
right.
but you, I don't want to.
Yeah, and it's,
But the majority was still in favor.
that's right.
Okay, go ahead.
This is the parcel, 3.21 acres, just got rezoned to B3. And so it's to allow for the existing operation of their current use, print and publishing and lithography. These are the uses under B3, and so limited manufacturing would be permitted with a special use permit, which is what they're hoping for. Again, the use is inconsistent with the town land use map, and that's why, and so these are the fact of finding that we base ourselves on in your staff report as well, but will endanger public health or injure the adjoining property's value, doesn't meet the satisfaction of the current town land use ordinances and standards. And so those were the things that we reviewed as well. Staff recommended denial, planning board recommended approval. And so whether or not you choose to approve or deny the request, you'd use this statement here. Happy to take any questions or.
Just
Okay.
before there's too much discussion on it, this one is quasi judicial. I don't see a lot more people in the room than there were in here already on the rezoning, which is purely legislative. So I don't see as there's probably gonna be more testimony, and it'll probably look a lot like you just did with the rezoning. But technically speaking, legally speaking, this is a quasi judicial hearing, so anyone that will come to speak will have to be sworn, and you'll have to base your determination as to whether or not to approve or not approve the special use permit on competent, relevant evidence provided tonight in this hearing as to whether or not to grant the special use permit. So just maybe take that, if you're gonna testify on it, go into detail about what precisely it is you're gonna do and why it's consistent with the UDO rules and so forth. Provide some evidence, a little bit, just basics, would be a good idea.
Does anybody have any questions of Alex? Okay. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone that's in favor of SUP 2022-02, come forward.
Yeah, this is the second part of it.
You have to be sworn this time.
Before he gets sworn, just so you know, this process with these two steps, this is awkward by nature, and the statute makes it this way. So just, I think it's for everyone's benefit in this room that can hear me speak right now, doing a rezoning with a dovetailed special use permit is always somewhat awkward, especially in terms of the testimony being redundant, being sworn and not being sworn, all of that. So just for everybody's benefit, it's always kind of awkward.
Which hand on the Bible?
Your left hand, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, and then just state your name and address for the record.
I'm Ben Cook. Live at 294 Montford Drive, Garner, North Carolina. Work at 105 South Wall Street, Benton Car Company. I don't really know what to say that I haven't already said. All we want to do is put a garage door in, to bring vehicles in, to put decals on them. They won't be staying overnight. They'll be picked up. There is not enough parking spaces to justify any kind of major business that would come in that could be a problematic situation. For that matter, I don't know how many parking spaces a strip club requires. It all depends on what types of businesses that you want to do. I just ask that you just give us our best opportunity, and that's all we're asking for is an opportunity. We just want to do business for the town of Benson. We want to keep the business in Benson, but this is the only viable way. If we were to go under, you would be looking at a massive, massive hole in the structure of the town. And that's something you guys have dealt with on 2 or 3 occasions. Young businessmen like William and Paul, they're doing business. They're putting hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix that problem. And I'm trying to help you keep from creating another problem. We do really well in cycles. This is a business that would allow us to be more consistent throughout the year. And I just would like you to consider that. Please consider the fact that we've been here. We're not planning on going anywhere. We don't want to go anywhere. But if the planning board pushes us in a direction where we're not part of the plan, I gotta eat somewhere. And I'd rather eat in Benson and help feed some people in town. But if that's not an option, that's not an option. I have 4 kids. I always say I have 5 because Benton Card Company is my 5th child. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here for the town. I'm here for you. All I'm asking for is a garage door. After all we've done and continue and want to do for the town, for every person, even down to the people that walk the street and homeless. I go pay for their medication when they can't afford it. Lisa just went through a big burn incident. I saw her for the first time, gave her a big hug, brought her in, handed her some help, handed her money, walked her across the street to the gas station, got her a pizza. That's something I do every day. It costs me money to do that. But if we're not there, I can't do it. It's the little things. It's us little people that make the town run. I'm just asking you to help me get through it so I can. If that's too much to ask, I understand. But you have to understand that you've drawn a line, that you've planned me out of your plans, and I have to make alternative plans. I'm not going anywhere. I've been here since 1948. The building has been there since 1901. It was a manufacturing company. It started as a car dealership. Go back to the museum and look at it. What they used to do is they used to bring their vehicles in and drive them in, and they'd raise them on an elevator that's now condemned, and they'd do the mechanical work up top, and they sold their vehicles down low. That's what it was beforehand. There's not much foot traffic, but there's a lot going out, and there's a lot we're doing for the town of Benson. I've invested another $100,000 into new printing presses that are going to be delivered on March 21st. All I'm asking for is a garage door and let the youth push forward. If you're going to let a little red tape keep the town from doing that, that's not a black mark on me. That's not. That's a situation where the town is so protective of what could happen, they lose track of what is happening. Please don't let this become a might have been instead of an is. That's all I request. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just asking you guys to help me. So that's all I can say.
Thank you, Ben. Anyone else wants to come and speak for? Come forward. Anyone that wants to come forward and speak against, come forward. Anyone that wants to come and speak against, come forward. While nobody else is coming, I close the public hearing. Is there any questions of the board?
No, I don't have any questions, but I do want to make a comment to Benton Car Company. I have no doubt that you guys have served Benson well. I mean, and it is unfortunate that a plan that was put in place by this town is, creating this issue tonight. And that is something that we're going to have to address. But I'm telling you, I hate to say it, but if we do it for one, regardless, this is gonna be the expectation. So if we don't do something with this, our plan, we're gonna be in trouble. And I'm not gonna continue to sit here on this board and make all these plans against what we came up with. I mean, it's not good, and it does not look good for us.
What we're dealing with is exactly what was on the agenda and what had been planned to do. So we're not doing anything different than we planned in the beginning. So, any other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I make the motion that we recommend approval of a request for a special use permit for SUP 2022-02 to allow for existing operation of printing, publishing, and lithography, however you say it, lithography.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Yeah.
Carried.
I just want to say one thing, and this is just me talking to Kim, because you just stepped up into that seat. I don't ever want to be right here 2 hours before a meeting, or when I walk in at 6:58 and being told, hey, we're changing plans, because if that's the direction we should have went from the beginning, that's the direction we should have went.
Yes, sir. I understand.
New business, consider contract with Johnson County Board of Education for use of the middle school property for disc golf. I try and man's come. I mean,
He's gonna know a lot more about this substantively than I do. I wrote or amended a contract, a joint venture agreement that you have in your packet. Certainly can talk about that
I can help a little bit.
at the appropriate time, but I think let's get into the nuts and bolts of it, and then we can talk about the legalities.
Yeah, so basically what we're gonna do is partner with the middle school, and I've already been in talks with them. They got approved as well, the Johnson County Board of Education. But we wanna partner with them to do a 9-hole disc golf course. I think you should have a map in your, in there, but the,
So I think it's an
it's
attachment.
right, yeah, it's right behind our ball fields. Part of it will be on our land, part of it will be on theirs. So we're just asking for approval to move forward with this. As far as, cost and stuff of the disc golf, it's really, $500 to $600 a hole, which is about $5,000 total. We're actually meeting with, the Masonic Lodge. They want to donate a little bit of money to this cause. We're meeting with them later this month. Talks were about $3,000. And we also have talked to them about whole sponsors, $100 or $2 a piece, and they actually have some people already lined up to do that. So as far as the cost of this to the town, it's not going to be a lot with sponsors and everything. The main thing is the man hours. Public Works is actually already out there clearing the land. That's the biggest issue we got. And then as far as the course itself, the Parks and Rec is going to install the baskets, tee boxes and stuff like that. So
You might recuse me after this, or tell me I need to be recused.
I can't recuse you.
You might tell me I need to ask to be recused, and that's okay. I just want to follow it up. From what I understand, I was at a Masonic Lodge meeting before I came here tonight. We're offering from the Masonic Lodge to sponsor the cost of this course, And this is just the agreement for us to get the land from the school system. Is that what I'm understanding? Is that not
Are
correct?
you asking if that's a conflict?
No, I just want to make sure that I can still vote. You might tell me,
can.
but
I
that,
don't, I cannot, that is very tenuous.
yeah, this is kind of like the ball field situation where you've got outside supporters that are willing to sponsor this so that it's not a cost to the town. The only thing the town will be looking at is the ongoing maintenance of the grass, but the product and everything would be, and which they've already done from what I understand. I've already gone out there and done a lot of clearing.
Yeah, there's a lot of clearing already
and
done.
so we've got outside sponsors that are willing to put this disc golf course in. We just have to enter into an agreement with the school system to be able to have access to the property.
And it's a what?
It's a disc golf course.
Frisbee.
It's like frisbees. You throw frisbees in at a basket.
The way I read the contract, it'll be an additional recreation opportunity for the town citizens that will be an additional income possibility to the town and or the school system. The school system can use it. That's right.
Yeah, and
That's exactly
like I
right.
said, it was all wooded. It's heavy, thick wooded area. Just clearing it out already looks better. So just it's going to make everything look better around the ball fields and everything. So.
Out west, stuff I looked at, they hold pretty big tournaments.
There's a lot of them down toward the coast that they hold every weekend. So it's just another, I look at it as another opportunity for our children or even adults to have a recreation option that they can have teams and stuff for and another income producing potential for both the school system and for the Parks and Recs department at no cost to the town for the infrastructure.
Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Thanks a lot, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
It's a,
You got one more.
Tim, it's a good thing
Thanks, Tim.
It's a good thing you did it instead of Matt.
Matt was waiting outside. Consider approval of basketball goal installment agreement. Matt Smith.
How's it going? We received a grant through Johnson County Open Space for just over $30,000. They will pay 100% of the new goals. What we want to do is put 2 main goals in the gymnasium that are adjustable, and we want to put 4 side goals on the side so they can play crossways, which are adjustable and that will fold against the wall. We would have to buy the equipment first. The county will reimburse us 100% as soon as we have a canceled check and proof that the check has been cashed. I guess we just have to ask for approval to purchase the equipment, and the equipment is $12,000. And then the install is somewhere around $7,000, so $19,000 total for that. After that's over, we'll have just over $11,000 left in that grant money to purchase new padding or bleachers, is what was originally in the grant. So if we decide that we want to do different bleachers, we would like to get the safety padding in, to make sure there's safety padding underneath the goals, and after that, we can discuss what we're going to do with the remainder of the money. But it's 100%, the town doesn't put in anything.
Can we get taller bleachers? They
That's-
see it really low.
You're not the first person that's asked me that, so I mean, we're looking into it. I think the reason they're low is because they're made to go in and out of doorways. And I think that's why they're low, and they tip up and roll, and we can get them outdoors, so.
Matt, if we do this tonight, go ahead and approve it. What are you looking at? I mean, you can't get anything anymore. Have you got it coming, or they say, well, it's 6 months out?
I haven't got it, we have to
Goals.
buy the equipment first before it comes.
That's what I'm talking about, the goals, everything that we're looking at, and that we're touching, we're finding out, it's out of stock. I'm just asking you a question.
You're asking me a question I can't answer right now. The only way we can answer it is to call the guy that's gonna sell us the equipment and ask him how long it's gonna take. Tim, do we have a timeline on that?
Have you got a timeline on anything y'all have ordered for the athletics, right now? Are y'all waiting for anything to come?
We're not waiting on anything right now, just waiting on to purchase this equipment.
Okay.
Is
Quote's
the,
good for 30 days, so.
is the money
They
got
must
any
have
kind of
one.
timeline on it? Have we got to have the money spent by a certain date?
2023. We have 1 more year to spend it. We got, and I mean, you can ask the guys in my department and Tim, it was next to impossible to find somebody to sell us these goals and put them in. I've never had a harder job spending $30,000 in my life. And I can't tell you why, I don't know why. But nobody's more frustrated than we are that we couldn't, and then we
there's
finally found somebody.
There's
that
no
would.
match to this. This is 100%.
This is 100% paid for by Johnson County Open Space.
But we pay for it up front.
Pay for it up front, and they will reimburse. It's a reimbursement grant. And that's the purchase and the install.
Any other questions?
Now, I think they will wait till after the install to bill us for the install. They're not gonna bill us before the install, but we have to purchase the equipment first.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make that motion that we approve
All
the
in favor,
funding.
say aye. Opposed, no. All right, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alan Johnson.
We have,
Kimberly first.
Alan's here if you need him, but this is for purchase orders over 10,000. And I did have one that came up today. So, but the first one is Newton's Fire and Safety. They need to get 6 sets of turnout gear. That is $16,800. It is in their budget.
Did they get quotes on these from somebody else?
This is who we've typically bought them from. Did you get any other quotes? No. This is who we've always bought turnout gear from.
Anybody have a question?
We
I'll
have checked
entertain a motion.
around, hey, we have checked around, and the equipment that we're getting, it's all costing about the same thing, probably within $100. And our biggest thing is, now we're gonna approve 16.8. But the last turnout gear that we purchased, it took 8 months to get it, and that's what I'm saying. Everything is back ordered, and it's unreal. I mean, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. If we approve this, we've got the money. But if he orders it tomorrow and they tell him it's 6, 8 next year before we get it, does that make any difference on this money?
It does if you get it before September, because we can backdate it into this fiscal year. So as long as the audit's still moving, we typically have a cutoff at the end of September. So any invoice that comes in between July and September for the previous fiscal year, we can push back into the previous fiscal year with an adjustment.
Well, you gotta pay for it before you order it, don't you? When you order it.
No, you pay for it when it comes in.
When we get it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's just a purchase order. He has to have a purchase order to order it. So this gives us the purchase order.
All right, go ahead.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
The other one that came to me today, the mower at the wastewater treatment plant
I think.
has broken down. And they took it to, it's a 12-year-old mower that we're using, and it's used for public works and for wastewater. And they took it to Lanky's to get a quote on how much it would cost to fix it. And it's gonna be $8,275 to fix the mower, which staff has stated that is really not, to them, that's not worth it. So they're requesting that we buy a new mower for wastewater and public works. The original cost was $15,500. Lanky's is giving us a 15% discount, so it will cost us $13,186.84. And so we just need approval from the board to purchase this mower. They need it to be able to mow out at the plant. That's not part of our contract.
We're gonna start mowing ourselves, all of it?
We have been mowing at the plant.
No, I'm talking about all the grass.
That's the discussion on the next one.
Just bought a mower not long ago for the sewer plant.
No, this is a mower that was at the sewer. This is a 12-year-old mower.
Sewer plant mower.
We bought a mower for the fire department.
Right.
That we are doing our own grass now. And I would just say that Parks and Rec or whoever needs to check with Alan back there and our mower, because it's a big commercial mower and we didn't pay that much for it.
What kind of mower is it?
We got a John Deere.
It is a Laser 60.
Exmark?
Yeah. From Great Outdoors and done.
What size?
Oh, Great
50?
Outdoors. That's
Yeah, this
not
is
Lanky's.
no. Lanky's gave us the quote. I'm sorry. Yeah, Lanky's gave us the quote. Great Outdoors is Lanky's was the quote to fix it. Great Outdoors was for the new mower, and they're giving us a 15% percent discount.
What size mower deck you got on it?
A 60-inch 801 KW.
John Deere's gonna be cheaper. You can get a 930M 60-inch for probably about.
So you want them to go back and look at a John?
$7,000. Well, they might have all gone up now, I'm telling you. It's been a year since I bought a mower.
The one that was a comparable motor at Lanky's lawnmower, that was what, 15.5? For the comparable
He
one
gets
at
X more.
Lanky's?
Sorry, and she's the one that talked to Brian today, so I may be relaying her writing on here wrong.
Well, I just scribbled it.
Yeah.
Said what now?
So she's the one that talked to Brian. So Lanky's gave us a 15.5 and Great Outdoors gave us a 13,186.
Okay.
I'm reading her notes on this. I'm sorry.
13,186 is the cost of the mower?
Yeah, that's the cost of the mower.
That sounds better.
13's better than 15.
Yes, it's a 15% discount.
I knew Lanky's did not handle Exmark though.
Yeah. This coming from Great Outdoors have done.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want them to price a John Deere, we can do that.
13's gonna be right where they are,
Okay.
most likely. X-Mark's a better mower.
Alan, right off, do you remember, you're giving me hand signals, you remember what ours cost?
I said I was 52.
52, and this is a 60. Right.
I'll entertain a motion.
Have we got the money?
They do have the money.
They
Yes.
do have the
Yes,
money?
they
I
do.
make a motion that we, go with Great Outdoors for a Exmark 60-inch.
Mhm.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Okay.
All right, resolution 224/2022.
I think consider a mowing and
Mowing
landscape comes
contract.
before that, Mayor.
Yeah,
The contract you were just
Contract for the mowing.
talking about.
that's gonna hurt.
Yep.
So at the request, at the request of the board, we redid the mowing contract. The bids went out on Friday, February 11th. Questions were due by February 4th. There were no questions, there were no addendums, and the bid went out January 19th, and it was due Friday, February 11th. We only received one bid packet, so we had to go back out and extend the bid. So we did that, and we reopened bids on February 21st, at which point we still only had one bid packet. So what we have before you is a bid from Lane Lawn Care in the amount of $129,923. I do want to make note of the locations that are listed 4 pages in to your bid packet, pages 4 and 5. This does take out the fire department, which was done last year. And it also takes out, if you look at the Vias Park and Nance Park and Johnson Street Civic Center, they will not be mowing playing spaces. They will only be mowing around the diamonds. So the outside fence. They will not be mowing inside the fence.
Did they do inside last year?
They did. They did. They've been doing it for several years.
What do they move?
Well, there's a list of properties on pages 4 and 5. They do mow quite a bit. Town
Pages what?
page 4 and 5 of your bid packet. Let's see, what pages is it in the thing?
It's on page 73 in your packet.
Thank you.
For town properties and facilities, they mow 18 locations. There's 5 welcome signs that they have to mow and keep up with mulch and the flower beds. There's 3 NCDOT interchanges, and there's 15 right-of-ways that they mow. But Parks and Recreation had asked us to take the play and surfaces out What the original contract was 10 to 14 days, this is 7 to 10. But 10 to 14 wasn't feasible for their schedule in the summer for ball. And so they had asked us to take that out, but we left, like I said, the perimeter of the fencing in and the actual walking around of the parks.
How much of an increase are we looking at?
The original contract was,
About 40,000.
yeah, it was 80,000.
80,000?
The original contract was 80, so,
So now we're at 129, so we're increasing by 50,000.
And then you also increase from 10 to 14 days to 7.
to 7 to 10 days. I mean, you're lowering, which is what,
Decrease,
Well,
yeah.
Lord, yeah.
you're lowering your days, your cycle. So he's essentially here once a week as opposed to week and a half to 2 weeks.
You're always, we're losing, 5 spots that they used to do?
So we're decreasing the amount of grass.
Decreasing the amount of grass,
Decreasing
but,
Increasing the salary.
and he would think he's had, economy. He's having to increase paying his people, and gas is up.
Well, if you can lock in gas with anybody, you've done a number.
It looked like there was a 4-year increment for a 2% per year increase. Is this the right contract I was reading today?
So yes, it's a 2% annual increase for 4 years, but we have to come to the board for the increase, just like we did this year. And we would come to this contract, the contract period is January 1 to December 31. Obviously, date of availability is pushed back. So if it's approved tonight, date of availability would be tomorrow. It runs through December. But then in December, we would have to come back to the board and say, and ask for the 2% increase. He just doesn't get it. We have to come back and get it approved.
So this contract goes over mowing. This might be a side note. You can pull me back in. Who's responsible for cleaning up the trash that's blowing around all the streets in town and then on all the town bushes and everywhere? Who's doing the trash pickup? Is that included by this company? Because it's getting pretty bad and I'm getting a lot of complaints on it.
If they're in the right of way, if they're in his locations, they would go through and do that. Now, if you're seeing trash blowing around downtown, we need to get Public Works out there to kind of help with that.
Okay.
But if it's in his listings, he would pick it up as he mowed.
So he mows and hauls everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
We
He does
provide
not
all the,
dump.
we provide all the mulch and all the materials.
Yeah, we provide
This
the-
is just 100% labor and equipment.
Right. When it's time to remulch flower beds and stuff, we provide that to them to do. See, that's what he would have done in the months of January and February. So that's not been done this year
I
because we
felt-
canceled the contract.
I felt like when we canceled this, we asked him to bring us numbers of what it would cost for us to bring that in-house, if we got any estimate of what that
We
was.
do not. Tim has not been here, unfortunately, so we have not been able to tackle that.
Well, I sat and worked some numbers today, and it looks like we could, with what the fire department and Parks and Rec's doing, we could cut the grass with 2 people. And it'd leave us $50,000 left over to do the other stuff.
Well, I can tell you that the mower that Parks and Rec is going to need for the playing surfaces, and it's not the same type of mower, I'm sure, but their mower is going to cost between $30,000 and $40,000, is what I've been told. So you know that is an expense that's going to have to go to Parks and Rec that they hadn't planned for. I think if you're bringing it in-house, you're going to have to hire those 2 people. We don't have those 2 people on staff,
Yeah,
so.
you would,
What would a
you
salary
could
like
spend
that?
$129,000, and
I
this-
would dare to say they would probably fall in the $30,000 range, but I'd have to go back and we'd have to research.
Kim, the places though that we have to provide mulch that we have to pay for, that's our interchanges, right?
It's usually our welcome signs, town hall.
That's coming out of our composed pile of huge mulch. Are we purchasing mulch?
No,
or
they
are we
usually
using-
purchase mulch.
We're purchasing mulch.
Yeah,
instead
that's
of
not,
using-
that's not anything you'd want to,
Not the compost stuff.
yeah, put in your stuff.
But
Could
we
use
do not
it-
have to keep up 50 and 95.
They are part of your injury. I I don't wanna answer that because I'm not 100% sure.
Have to.
DOT is responsible for that, but we have asked DOT, the way Matt explained it to me, we asked DOT to take over those interchanges because we wanted to keep them pretty as the entrances to town.
Yeah.
We have no requirement to do that.
Yeah.
Unless there's something with the dog park, because we're in the easement on the dog park.
There is an agreement with DOT that was made way back in his time,
Right.
that they would plant the flowers the first time, we would cut the grass, and if the plants died, we would replace them. And there was a big argument 2 years ago about, they came and wanted us to replace all those plants, and
And
said no.
we said no, okay.
I don't know what they did after that, but I just think this grass cutting has been a pain in the side for everybody. You get calls week after week after week that they hadn't cut this, hadn't cut that. The town's not keeping their lots cut. And
Well, keep in mind, we have not cut because we don't have a contractor to cut right now,
That's
so.
a consideration, but I can tell you, I believe 100% that it needs to be in-house. Because that's the only way, I mean, look at the trash right now. Anytime we go out, and I know it's gonna cost more money, but we've got to decide as a board and as a town, to me, the services that we provide, or the main thing we're here for is to provide services to the citizens, and one of those is the grass. And if we can put 2 people out there, or 3 people, it'll take more than 2. If we can put 3 people out there mowing grass every day a week, and then if they're not, we've got extra staff to put with Public Works digging holes or whatever we need to do, or I would like to see it come back into the town if at all possible. That's the way I look at it. Call Great Outdoors, see if they can give us 25% discount if we buy 3.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Yeah, that's even better. But I mean, I think.
Well, I
this-
think that's something we can discuss later. We've got a contract on the table that either we need to do something with for 1 year or give them a 6 months or whatever it takes and give us time to get set up. But the only thing I remember back when we were doing it, we had more workers' comp claims just on the damn mower than anywhere else. I mean, we had a rock to fly up and put one guy out permanently.
We've been mowing, that was before me. We've been mowing, we've
Yeah.
always had a
Do
contractor
we
since
have
I've
an
been here.
option to shorten this contract, or we have to go back because it's a 4-year contract?
It's a 1-year contract
It's
with
a
a 4-year
with a 4-year
extension.
renewal. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a 1-year contract. So you can approve it tonight, and then in December, if you're
If we're
saying,
planning for
if
it.
you're saying you want it in-house, then when I start the 30 budget, then we would build it into the budget to hire somebody by January and do it that way. I don't think right now is not feasible to hire somebody. We're not gonna hire somebody tomorrow. It's gonna take a little while. You've got to get the equipment in here. It's not budgeted for.
Let me ask you something, because the places they're gonna be mowing is, some of it's gonna be coming out of the water and sewer fund, correct?
No, the mowing contract comes out of Fund 10.
Even though they're mowing the sewer,
It all comes out of Fund 10.
could it come out of the fund, what is it?
It could. It could.
For that particular? I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
Yeah.
Would the water and sewer fund be able to sustain something like that?
the question I have
In the
is,
upcoming budget, I could build it in there. It could.
is the $129,000 a good number? Because the contract on the front end says it's from January to the end of December.
Correct.
And they haven't cut any grass in January and February.
Right. So they wouldn't get paid for
so
January and
it's
February.
a 10-month contract, so is it really $129,000?
It's based on a 12-month.
It's based on a
We would
12
divide that by 12 and only
Correct.
pay them, what, 100,000, 110?
Yeah. It's based on a 12-month number, so you wouldn't count the first 2 months in that contract. But it was done that way because of the renewal that we typically put on there. The contract dates were done January 1 to December 31, so we wouldn't have to start in the middle of, a quarter.
We need to look at it hard.
I don't know if we got any other options right now. If we want our grass cut this season, nobody else is gonna bid this time of year.
And if we approve this tonight, when are they gonna start back?
He would start, I would have to let him know he got approval from the board, and he would probably start next week or the week after. I mean, he knows. I think he's probably watching it on YouTube right now.
Like April.
No, he would start in March. The date of availability is tomorrow if he gets
If it's 2
approved.
weeks.
Well, I'd have to ask him when he could start.
All right.
But he would know tomorrow. He would know tonight if he got approved.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve for 1 year.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no.
I just got one more thing.
Mhm.
This, even though we just approved this,
Mhm.
with him mowing a lot of stuff for sewer and water, and some of that money to be diverted out of the water and sewer fund.
Mhm.
Okay. Instead of calling.
Going into the water and sewer fund, you mean? Because it's in 10, it's in general fund. So you say and put it in,
Divided up where it comes out of there and some of it comes out of the 10
yes,
part.
yes, I can do that.
Would that be a less of an impact on the 10 part?
Yes, it would be. And I could do that, and I could build that into the contract, into the budget for the upcoming year as well.
Okay.
Now we're on,
I'd like to see some of those numbers when we start talking about budget to compare what we could do about bringing
Sure,
it in.
absolutely.
CBG
All right, so
compliance plan.
what I have before you is an updated CDBG compliance plan. So there's a memo, and there is a resolution. I'm going to read you the memo per what I was told to do by our engineers. The purpose of this memo is to summarize the updated CDBG compliance plan for the town's 2015-2020 Community Development Block Grant Infrastructure Program being presented for adoption at the town board meeting. The town was awarded a CDBGI grant from the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, Division of Water Infrastructure in April 2021. The CDBG program manual was adopted in November of 2021, containing initial compliance plans and policies designed to meet requirements for participation in the CDBGI program. DWI requested the town revise the compliance for Section 3 Action Plan and Citizen Participation Plan. Section 3 Plan, the federal regulations were updated from 24 CFR Part 135 to 24 CFR Part 75 in mid-2021, with new definitions and thresholds for CDBG funding recipients to provide good faith efforts regarding job creation and contracting opportunities for local low-income residents and businesses. Specific metrics, reporting requirements, and deliverables may change during project implementation because the federal guidance is still evolving, but DWI has provided a new Section 3 action plan template for the town to certify. Supplemental information is provided by DWI. 2, Citizen Participation Plan. The plan is the same plan adopted previously with one sentence added. The closeout public hearing will not be conducted until after all third-party contract payments have been submitted. So the resolution is 224-2022, a resolution authorizing the adoption of the updated compliance plans for the town of Benson during the implementation of the North Carolina Small Cities Community Development Block Grant for Infrastructure Program. Whereas the town currently participates in the fiscal year 2020-2021 Small Cities CDBG program under the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended and administered by the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, DEQ, Division of Water Infrastructure. Whereas the CDBG program has many federal performance and procurement requirements, whereas the town adopted initial CDBG policies and plans in November of 2021, whereas the following documents were updated policies and plans under this program, Section 3 Action Plan and Citizen Participation Plan. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Town of Benson, North Carolina, that these updated compliance plans are hereby submitted and adopted to be used throughout the implementation of the Town of Benson fiscal year 2021 CDBG program. Adopted this 8th day of March 2022.
So all we're doing is bringing our current plan that we adopted in November 2021 up to compliance to comply with new laws.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I make a motion, we approve resolution 224-2022. Yes, I can.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Okay. And the next one is 225 2022. Glenn, do I have to read all these too? Or can I just read the resolution?
Or just need to read the whole memo?
If we read the entire memo, that checks a procedural box and it satisfies the requirement that we hold a workshop at some point during the life of the grant.
Okay.
So at the risk of being long-winded, it's probably worthwhile to
Okay.
knock that out.
Okay. I apologize, y'all.
Should have got Ike to read it.
I should have.
Comment.
Okay. So the CDBG Fair Housing Analysis. The purpose of this memo is to summarize the analysis of impediments of fair housing choice, assessment of fair housing report required by the town of Benson for participation in the CDBG infrastructure program. The town is eligible to participate in the following NC Small Cities Community Development Block Grant programs funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Infrastructure, Economic Development, Neighborhood Revitalization, NC Department of Environmental Quality, Division of Water Infrastructure, and the NC Department of Commerce, Rural Economic Development Division. As a recipient of federal funds, the town must demonstrate efforts to affirmatively further fair housing. The Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968 prohibits the denial of housing to a person based on person's membership in one or more of the protected classes. It is also illegal to coerce, intimidate, threaten, or interfere with a person seeking to exercise right under the Fair Housing Act. Protected classes are race, color, religion, national origin, sex, familial status, and disability or handicap. It is illegal to discriminate against a person in a protected class in the following housing situations: the advertising, terms, conditions, privileges, financing, or providing services or facilities in connection with the sale or rental of most housing. Providing reasonable modification to a dwelling for persons with a disability at their expense when necessary for the full use and enjoyment of the dwelling. The provision of reasonable accommodations to the rules, policies, practices, and services when necessary to provide persons with a disability the equal opportunity to use and enjoy the dwelling. Examples of prohibited actions: discriminatory advertising, terms, conditions, privileges, financing, or provision of services or facilities in connection with the sale or rental of most housing. False denial of availability, refusal to deal in financial discrimination, indicating any preference or limitation because of class membership, denying anyone the use of a participation in any real estate services, and denial or certain reasonable modifications and or reasonable accommodations. Complaint procedure. Any person or persons wishing to file a complaint on housing discrimination in the town may do so by informing the town manager, town clerk, at the town of Benson, P.O. Box 69, 303 East Church Street, Benson, or 919-894-3553, of the facts and circumstance of the alleged discriminatory acts or practices. Upon receiving a housing discrimination complaint, the town shall acknowledge the complaint within 10 days in writing and inform the state funding agency and the North Carolina Human Relations Commission about the complaint. The town shall offer assistance to NCHRC in the investigation and reconciliation of all housing discrimination complaints based on events occurring in the town. For more information, you can contact the HUD office. In November 2021, the Town Council approved and adopted the CDBG program manual for the town's new CDBGI grant, which includes a fair housing plan and quarterly activities. The next step is for the town to conduct an assessment of fair housing to cover a 5-year period. The AFH process includes analysis of demographic, housing, and economic statistics illustrating trends over time since 2010, comparing the town, Johnston County, and North Carolina. Identification any fair housing issues and impediments to the community. Identification of SMART goals that can be attempted to be addressed within the time frame of the CDBG grant, and activities to meet these goals, including community participation. Analysis of a census data 2010-2019. In general, the town trends are similar to that of Johnston County and the state, with a few highlights. Compared to the county and state, Benson has a higher percent of Black or African American persons and higher percent of persons of Hispanic origin. Approximately 13% of the population speaks a language other than English at home. Benson has a higher percent elderly population than the county and state, but experienced a decrease in elderly persons living alone and a decrease of disabled elderly persons. The percent of grandparents responsible for their grandchildren nearly doubled in Benson, but decreased at the county and state levels. While the town's median household income achieved the most growth compared to the county and state, the local poverty rate for families and individuals is still approximately 2 times higher than the county and state. Benson saw a larger growth in variety of housing structures than the county and the state. Compared to the county and state, Benson has the oldest housing stock, with only 28% of homes being constructed since 1990. Median home value slightly decreased in Benson, but increased in the county and the state. In the county and state, homeowners are close to being twice the number of renters, but in Benson, the ratio is more evenly split. Black or African American persons in Benson experienced a significant increase in homeownership, while persons of Hispanic or Latino ethnicity experienced a significant increase in renting housing units. Ratios at the county and state levels saw little changes between 2010 and 2019. Last page. According to HUD, households that pay more than 30% of monthly income on housing costs are cost burdened and may have difficulty affording necessities such as food, clothing, transportation, and health care. Approximately 26.5% of homeowners in Benson are cost burdened. Approximately 41% of renters in Benson are cost burdened. Impediments to fair housing. The barriers identified are a common theme across North Carolina communities and can be summarized as difficulties with affordable housing and generally include a lack of affordable housing stock in range of sizes, a lack of affordable rental units in range of sizes, a lack of public interest in communication about fair housing. While these impediments are listed, when compared to the county and state, Benson has improved housing affordability and increased variety of housing stock in the last decade. Additional town factors to consider are the multi-year waiting lists for public housing and need for larger housing units. Benson has no known issues related to housing discrimination and has not received any community complaints. SMART goals and FH priorities. Based on the fair housing impediments, the identified goals are: 1, continue to expand community outreach methods for fair housing education and enforcement efforts. 2, continue to have public meetings regarding fair housing. And 3, continue to research and seek funding opportunities for community and economic development. D, activities. Based on the identified goals, the town should continue working with housing partners such as Benson Housing Authority, Johnston Lee Harnett Community Action, and the Johnston County Housing Assistance Payment Programs, Community and Senior Services of Johnston County, and Triangle J Regional Council of Governments that are deeply involved in sharing resources to provide safe, quality, affordable housing to those in need. Conduct fair housing activities to inform residents of their rights and housing providers of their responsibilities. Enhance community outreach and collaborate with partners for housing, economic development, infrastructure, and overall community development. And for the CDBG program, combine fair housing and Section 3 public notes in English and in Spanish, where feasible. Expand distribution to online and social media outlets and local events. The resolution to adopt the 2022 analysis of impediments and assessment of fair housing includes the town's commitment to affirmatively further fair housing. The report is presented to the board for approval and adoption to satisfy the conditions of the CDBGI project. Do I need to read the resolution too? Okay. So the resolution 225, 2022. A resolution authorizing the assessment of fair housing for the town of Benson during the North Carolina Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Infrastructure Program. Whereas the town participates in the Small Cities CDBG program under the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended and administered by the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, Division of Water Infrastructure. Whereas the town certifies to the division that it affirmatively further fair housing, and whereas the assessment of fair housing is required under this program. Whereas the assessment of fair housing is generally equivalent to the analysis of impediments to fair housing, and therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Town of Benson, North Carolina, that this assessment of fair housing is hereby adopted and used throughout the implementation of the Town of Benson CDBG program, adopted this 8th day of March 2022. And that is all.
No, we gotta have it.
You have to approve
I
it.
make a motion that we approve resolution 225-2022 to bring us in compliance.
Can you read it again?
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Town manager report.
So I'd like to make note of some events that are coming up. The BFA opened up the Foreigner this past weekend, and they have 2 more shows on the 12th and the 13th, or 2 more days of shows. The Benson's annual meeting and awards banquet is March the 17th at Broad Slab. William, you have it. I need to know who needs tickets. I know William has his. I need to get Mr. Chandler's, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I've got mine. I mean, I've got Susie's.
Okay. Miss Holly, would you like to
I
attend?
will let you know.
Okay. Miss Stack?
I'll be working out of town that day.
Okay. No? Okay. So I'll just wait and find out from you. Thank you. There is a ribbon cutting on March the 22nd at 5:15 at Sisters 2 Ice Cream for the Triangle Connect, and also on March 25th for Kelly's Sunshine Cafe at 5:15. And then we have the Johnston Community College Breakfast Before Business. If anybody would like to attend that, let me know and I can sign you up for it. It's at Johnston Community College. I think it starts at 7:30 in the morning. And then April 8th and 9th is Farm Heritage Days at the Chamber Park. Additionally, I would like to add that I have sent out an email on Saturday to Elena Keegan with Triangle J Council of Governments to help us, to give us a proposal to help in the manager search for the town of Benson. I have a meeting with her on Thursday at 10 o'clock over the phone to discuss the needs for the town. I would love for anybody to send me an email if y'all have thought about what you want in the next town manager. But at least it starts the conversation and get us a proposal.
And that's for Triangle J?
The Council of Government.
And what is their fees for that?
That's the point of the call on Thursday, for them to kind of start telling me how much it's going to cost. We were informed, if you all recall, at the beginning of the fiscal year, we ordered 3 Dodge Chargers for the police department. We were leasing them. Chrysler, y'all know where this is going. Chrysler has informed us that they have canceled over approximately 1,200 government vehicle orders. So we were a part of that order. So we will no longer be able to get Dodge Chargers. The chief has sent in to Chrissy, who is our agent with Enterprise, for 2 Nissan Rogue SUVs to get pricing, see if we can find them. So this is nothing written in stone, but we have asked for 2 Nissan Rogue SUVs, white in color, and they will be marked. His plan would be to assign those to the SROs, and their chargers would be transferred to patrol positions. Additionally, we would need 1 Ford F-150 Super Cab, also white, and this will be assigned to a patrol position. He says that the NC Sheriff's Association price list shows that the following cost for a Nissan Rogue is $24,410, and the 2022 Super Cab is $24,491. Now, if we go with the leasing plan, the chargers were going to be, the 3 additional chargers were $1,798 a month. This plan would cost us between $1,250 and $1,300 a month, so it would save us. And that would also include the $5,000 upfit of the vehicle with the logo in and stuff.
What's the availability on the vehicle?
We're looking into it.
I just got noticed today at work, the vehicles I ordered at work from Ford got canceled.
Well, and Greg and I have talked about this. You know, we also ordered an F-150 for the Public Works Department, and it's yet to be built. It's still sitting, waiting to be built, so we haven't gotten that one either. So we don't know. Chrissy's looking right now, but
Did we buy enough bicycles?
It's like,
Well, yeah, yeah. What, the vehicles that we have got right now, we can order whatever. I know that Ford and GMC and everybody is the very same. They're not going to give you a date on anything, and you go by Dunn, Benson, Ford or these places, and it looks like they're going out of business. They can't get them either.
Yeah.
So, what have we got? Greg, what have we got right now that we can use until whatever comes in? I know we've got cars sitting, and some of the people that, some of the officers that come in, they switch out.
We're good on vehicles right now.
Okay.
We've got one car that needs a little repair work done. That's why it's been sitting out there for several months. There's no sense in repairing it if no one's here to drive it. So we're just banking that money. Ideally, what we're looking at is 2 vehicles for the 2 positions that were added. Because we don't have the cars for them. The plan was to surplus 3 of the older Chargers that are, like, one's a 2015. We were gonna trade that one in and get these new vehicles, but now we're just gonna keep them because you can't get cars. So we're kind of between a rock and a hard place at the moment. And like you said, getting the cars is gonna be the problem. Right now, she's searching dealerships nationwide, just because they have to be white so we can stripe them. So that's the sticking point.
Well, that's a problem I think we're gonna run into with Parks and Rec, getting their goals. That's what I was asking. I would like to see some times, but this right here, I heard it 5 or 6 months ago, Harnett County Sheriff's Department had all of these ordered.
Mm-hmm.
Their orders have been canceled too. It's not just Benson, it's across the board. And I would go ahead. What has to be done to the one that's sitting?
Needs a new front end.
Needs a new front end.
Yeah, it's about $1,500.
Well, I think that would be a $1,500 well spent, because if we have another one that's wrecked or something, then we're not gonna have one to change out.
Right.
So let's bite the bullet and see about getting that fixed through whoever you use.
Okay.
And
Does it
I
have
don't
to
know
be
what
white
we're gonna
because
get.
we stripe it, or is it white because our current color scheme is white? And I'm just asking. I understand we just redid the cars, but I'm just asking, if this goes on for another 24 months, is it white because that's what
Well,
looks good?
it's white because that's our color scheme
Okay,
at the moment.
okay, all right.
I do understand Toyota is about the only place that's got vehicles. Go look. Get you something that's good on gas. It doesn't have to be that fast.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're moving away
No,
from that
I know.
anyway.
Yeah.
I'm messing.
Yeah.
You showed me that on the bicycles. You're slowing it down a little bit.
We're trying.
Okay.
Additionally, we did start budget conversations last week. I was able to sit down with library and museum, fire, and police, and parks. We, as a staff, are asking that next board meeting, the board updates their council priorities and their council principles, so we know where to go with the upcoming budget. We would like to know what y'all would want to see us strive towards. In order to do a budget, we need a good mission statement and we need good goals. So we're asking that at the next board meeting, we take time on that Thursday meeting and discuss the priorities and the principles. Additionally, we would like to hear from the staff. So at the last department head meeting, we had a discussion. We haven't been able to bring the staff together since COVID, since some of that's it's lifted. We're kind of moving away from COVID. We would like to have an employee lunch on March the 17th. Alan has graciously offered to cook, and we all know we love Alan's cooking. But in order to get everybody together, we would like to do that between 11:30 and 1:30. So we would like to close town offices for those 2 hours to be able to get the staff together and hear what they want to see in the future of Benson as well. So.
Well, as far as those council priorities, didn't we discuss in the retreat that we weren't gonna change the council principles?
I'm not sure if it would, if y'all want to keep them like they are, that's fine. You tell me that now and we'll move forward.
I mean, that was based on that survey what you all said?
We didn't really discuss it that much. That was kind of.
We sent it in.
Right,
That's what I'm saying, it was based on that. I mean, is that something you all want to continue to do, or?
I think it's something we should revisit as a conversation. I mean, it's not, we're gonna be here next Thursday night. Is it Thursday? Are we first or second?
Thursday.
24th.
I don't think it'll hurt to have a conversation, see where we're gonna go. Have you got those?
We do. We have them.
Send them back out.
Okay.
Send to everybody. I didn't see what
Please
y'all put
do.
down. Send everybody out to everybody so we can all see what they look like.
I think we did get them in that packet.
They were in your packet.
Okay, maybe they were.
'Cause I remember.
But there was really, I mean, it was kind of, everybody got to pick, but we never really sat down and said, okay, this is what's going to be priority 1, 2, 3, and 4. It was just a culmination of what everybody thought about, but we never brought it together.
Does anybody have anything else for Kim? Town attorney?
I have nothing this time unless there are questions for me about something. Anything?
Commissioners? Cassandra?
No, but I would like to say to Tyler and Derek, you all did a great job with this year's Black History event. I even looked at the views on Facebook. The views were huge. So you all did a wonderful job, and Derek, it gets better every year. So thank you. It was well thought out and planned.
Ms. Harley? Will?
I would just like to ditto what Cassandra said. I've had a lot, well, I've had 4 people come up to me and said that was one of the best programs that they had ever been to Sunday a week ago. And I think the guys did a fantastic job with what they did too. That's it.
We got 2 things, well, 3 things. A, thanks for all the staff does, as always. The videos online that Derek's doing, the Black History Month, I was there, that was great, and all y'all are doing. I understand Aaron's coming back, I think March 22nd. I think I
Should be
read
back
that today.
Monday, the 14th.
The 14th, good. I'm just going to tell you a little bit what I know without getting into debt, just because I want this board to know. I've been on the phone a lot with the county. As y'all know, they've been doing our inspections and stuff lately. We got a lot of issues out there in the planning and zoning world right now. There's a lot of non-conforming uses that we have created because of plans, and we've got structures out there that can't be used as what they were, and we can't change them to what they are without people having to spend a lot of money. And I've been spending a lot of time on the phone with the county inspections department to try to meander through that. They have suggested that when Aaron comes back, that all of us sit down and have a conversation about what we're doing with this, and the county's more than willing to come and talk to us, because we're putting a lot of people in a lot of binds where they're having to spend $14,000 on garage doors, just not on the door, that's on architectural plans and drawings, because this town board at some point in time has made them a non-conforming use. I know of 3 other structures that basically are in a bind right now. They're downtown, they were residential, they were re-overlaid commercial. Now they can't be used as a house, nor can they be used as a commercial building without a whole lot of upfit to bring it up to today's code. So we're costing a lot of people a lot of money unnecessarily. So I would ask, when Erin returns and she gets back on her feet, that we sit down and maybe invite the county to come and sit down with us for us to have a conversation about our planning and zoning going forward to try to prevent that. Lastly, just a little bit of verb, I don't know who's responsible for it, and I've gotten a lot of complaints about trash blowing around downtown in the bushes, and it's probably because they've not been trimmed, because we don't have a landscaper. I'm gonna say that's the cause, but there's a lot of trash downtown blowing around, probably in the residential neighborhoods too, but I've been approached by several people downtown about it, if we could look into that. Other than that, thanks for keeping on, and we'll go from there. I'm done.
You got anything?
No,
Finance
good.
lady?
I'm good.
Ken? Come up to the microphone.
Glenn.
Yes, sir.
We were talking about the handicap thing, and bring him up to date on what's expected of us to get our facilities so that they meet the criteria that's been set forth.
He's my ADA plan.
I'm not familiar with that conversation. I apologize. What was it we talked about again?
Because, well, Fred talked to me about it, and, you know, we talked about it when we were together. That everybody's expected to do some things to their facilities to meet the criteria that's been set up. And, you know, we haven't done anything that I know of to meet that. And some people have been inspected and got warnings because they hadn't done anything. So
Have we done any transition planning to date?
No, we have not. There, Bob had sent an original quote
It's been some time.
some time ago, yeah. And he updated it for us this week, and I haven't been able to look at it, but it's, I'm getting it up right now.
So you do have an updated version?
He did give me an updated version. It would be $36,400 for the updated plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
To do what? To do
So-
what?
To do an ADA transition plan.
For town facilities.
Well, and that's where I need to get up to speed, because I wasn't a part of these initial conversations. So I've got the quote here in my inbox, but I haven't been able to look at it either, so.
To be fair, I would need to look at it exactly what's in the updated version
Yeah.
of it. It should be centered on your downtown area, on
I-
your pedestrian.
That was a conversation that the mayor and Bob had last week.
he said that he had heard of a number of people that had been got, and we're in the period of time now that we could be charged. So I
We
think-
as the town, or we as the individual property owners?
We as the
As
town,
the municipality.
municipality.
This is something that went into play, I believe, 2015 timeframe or so. I think the state has generally been lax on enforcement of it here of late, and then we've started to hear that maybe they're starting to pick that effort back up or pay a little bit more attention to it.
For all they've given away.
So I need to take a look at exactly what's in the proposal Bob sent you, but it'd be focused on your pedestrian areas and your sidewalk areas, probably downtown.
Yeah.
Would that belong to DOT?
Only on Main Street.
No.
That's what I'm saying, Main Street would.
Yeah, but the sidewalks and stuff, well, they do the ADA compliance.
Well, look what we,
They're probably in the right of way.
They fixed the sidewalks, so
They've already
step
done that.
down.
Remember, they came through a couple
Yeah, I
years ago
know.
and cut all the ADA
So what else
compliance.
we
right?
talking about besides the sidewalks?
They'd be talking about the side streets that we.
Yeah, the side streets. And I will say that when we have had to go in and fix certain areas on sidewalks, Tim has been including ADA compliance. So you'll see the ramp, like right out here by the bank, that was redone like probably 6 months ago, and he made that ADA compliant. I mean, as we do projects, he does look at that and try to put us in ADA compliance, but as far as having a transition plan, we don't have anything that, you know, that we can go to that is essentially what they're asking for, the
They
state.
want us to pay an engineer to put a plan together saying we're
Exactly.
gonna be compliant, it's gonna cost us $40,000.
And here's how we're gonna do it, and here's almost like an assessment plan is what I gather from it. Yeah.
Somebody's got some good lobbyists.
But it's something we need to keep on our radar that we don't
Yeah.
get bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell Ken I misidentified him.
What's that?
Tell Kenny misidentified you.
Gotcha, all right.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here to read those.
Anything else coming forward?
Kim makes my job very easy.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no.
I do not, and I had asked, Matt earlier.